their eyes taped open to watch broadcasts on honest government, each one pledging in a trance like state to clean up corruption in Chicago, disavow the patronage system, and follow the will of the people. I sat and watched with my mouth open at Bathhouse John, Hinky Dink Kenna, and even Tom Keene sat in mock legislative sessions wherein they only passed bills to help the people of Chicago. This was madness. This was unheard of in Chicago. This was something out of a dream for a man like Dupree, or a nightmare for a man like His Honor. What the hell were the Prezzini brothers up to?
Mr. Perez, I have a choice for you. We here at Any Zerp B Industries have outfitted all of our guests, save you, with a special legislative initiative. Attached to their spines is a wire that can provide a fatal electric shock or make them bark like a dog. We give you the choice. Either release them back into the wilds of Chicago, or you can kill them all with a push of a button and save the machine the trouble of 37 more honest Alderbodies.
So that was their goddamn game. They must have offered the lieutenant the same choice, and he couldn't do it. These were his friends, his allies. He couldn't kill them. But to let them free in their current state would wreck everything the lieutenant had worked for in his life. The choice drove him mad, and the Prezzini brothers must have been hoping it would drive me nuts, too. A panel slid open on the back wall, and an electric console was revealed with two large buttons. One said death, and the other said, cause mischief, we beg of you. Most people, when given a choice of A or B, will stick with the choices they're given, usually boring or worse. But if I was that sort of fella, I would have stayed in insurance in the suburbs, stayed away from Chicago, and away from being a detective. You give me a choice of A or B, you can take your cornball suburban choices and spit on 'em. I'll take option P, thank you very much. Like A or B mattered. It was all a setup, all a con on me. And those Alderbodies were dead no matter what button I pushed. It all came to me as I stood before those buttons. Fast Polly hired the Prezzini brothers to kidnap him, and would have knocked him off by Bathhouse John's policeman, Lieutenant O'Malley, in a botched rescue attempt. That way Fast Polly could appoint his own Alderbodies, and run the city council over the dead bodies of Tom Keene, Bathhouse John, Hinky Dink, and all the rest. But the lieutenant went bonkers, and they passed on the rap to the next man down the line, down to me. And it was all going to plan. I just had to press the button labeled mischief, and all 37 Alderbodies would get what was coming to them. Hell, we all got it. But being hanged on the Cook County gallows was not the way I imagined being sent away. When I finished thinking it through, all I could say was the phrase, nuts. I took out my good mallet and the map from the book. If I was in an L-shaped room, I was in the southeast corner of the castle. The door led straight west into one of the dungeons, where traps and doom probably awaited. But the main hall, where I bet the Alderbodies were being held, was just 3 doors north, if you didn't count the fact that there were no doors leading the way. No trouble. I brought my own door maker. I charged away from the monitor, right at the north wall, and hit it with my mallet. The cheap Bridgeport construction plywood gave out after a few swings, as Crucini Puccini gasped on the television screens. The next room was a doozy. A long conveyor belt was helping make cream pies, which moved along it, filled by various devices, and then dropped into a pit from which no light emanated. If these were hell's cream pies, I didn't want to taste them, so I smashed my way into the next room. It was a small office with half a dozen chimpanzees smoking and clicking away at typewriters in a row. They didn't even notice me, but I had to know what they were writing. I peeked over one shoulder and read this. What's the sound of a ninja clapping one hand? That was all that was there. But I didn't want to hang around to learn the punchline. 3 more smacks from the hammer. The wall cracked. I was through, and my mouth dropped at what I saw. All 37 Alderbodies were dressed in their Sunday best, with a suitcase in hand. Bathhouse John approached me, jowls waggling, and smiled as he grasped my hand. His voice was not Chicagoan.
Mr. Priest, I presume. Are you here to see us back to a post in municipal government?
That's right, Bathhouse.
Please call me Mr. Coughlin. Whoever did I get here?
Long story, buddy. Where are the Prezzini brothers?
They said they were going to preach the gospel of good governance to a place that really needs them, something about the Republican National Convention. Shall we get moving? We all have a good deal of reform bills
that we need to pass.
I couldn't believe it, of course. Bathhouse John transformed into a goo-goo reformer. The machine was going to hell. The machine might be wrecked until the next election if all these guys stayed honest. It looked like an old-fashioned double cross from the Brazzini brothers, and I got used as the stiletto and Fast Polly's back. I checked my watch. It was 7:45, and Spirko's troops were likely to be getting anxious upstairs. There was a staircase that was labeled in, which I figured meant out, which is what I took us to. I was expecting bright lights and congratulations when all of us poured out of the murder castle, but all that greeted us was the darkness of Chicago's South Side. The Alderbodies were trailing out of there as I looked around for my friends, and Sophia, when I heard a clock of a gun hammer behind me. A deep, familiar voice belched out at me, and I turned around to see the dough face of Detective John Dirge.
I thought you might get out of this one, Priz. The boys at the station thought you'd end up drowned in cream pie, but I knew better. I'm just glad I get to put you in a Chicago coffin.
I should have known you'd be here, Dirge. Too much suffering in these parts for you to be far away. What'd you do to the boys from the Daily News?
They got detained for resisting arrest when I bopped them over the head. Don't worry, they were released in time to give a special report on all of his illegal activities. Shame you won't be able to defend yourself.
You going to shoot me in front of all these witnesses?
You think I'm afraid of any of these crooked sons of bitches? I got dirt on all of them. Hell, I run half the joints in Bathhouse's ward. You think?
I say there, you brute! Put that gun down and stop threatening this man, or I shall call the police and have your badge.
What?
More Alderbodies stepped forward to condemn his contempt for the law.
I don't think we should have stand by this number.
They started throwing their hats at him, and Dirge backed away from him. It's all right. Dirge is just joking. He's a friend of mine. Play it smart, Dirge. They got reformed. They'd rather slap their mothers, who probably deserve it, than play footsie with you. I need your help to get to the bottom of this mess. Face facts. The amazing Brazzini brothers double-crossed you, but you can still be a hero. Help me catch the Brazzini brothers, and we both...
God damn Brazzini brothers. I told Paulie not to trust him. Give me your mallet, you son of a Republican.
He tore the mallet out of my hands. He charged through the crowd of Alderbodies and raced towards the house. My ears aren't exactly virgin, not after living in Chicago, but I hope to never hear some of the words and adjectives that spewed from his mouth as he charged. When he got to the wall, he started swinging the mallet with the might of his huge frame, and immediately began smashing through the cheap Bridgeport construction. The murder castle began to shake as he crashed through more and more of its supports. Just came down on top of him. Whatever the Brazzini brothers had built tumbled down upon him, and Englewood was left with another pile of rubble. Ah, hell. That was the end of the interesting part of the adventure for me. After that, it was all accolades and follow-up work that got me nowhere. I tried pursuing the Bridgeport construction angle, but it got me as few middlemen who committed suicide rather than facing down Fast Polly's goons, or the feds. Detective Dirge got dug out of the rubble with nothing but a sore back, and the rubble was cleared away within a day. Dirge still works with Fast Polly, even if his partner is a little worse for wear. The amazing Brazzini brothers got away without a trace, with the CPD attributing their latest caper to a local kid from Englewood. But the city council, oh, that crazy council. Some of the Alderbodies, like Bathhouse John and Hinky Dink, shrugged off the effects of the Brazzini brothers. But about 20 of them were weak-willed enough that Dupree had a majority of reformers. Not enough to meet a mayoral veto, but enough to make this town a little more interesting. Maybe that was the point of the whole exercise. And maybe they were doing something I'll never figure out. The CPD only gave me $10,000, saying that I gave them damaged goods. I used it to pay the staff of the Daily News' bail, and got to ask Sophia on a date. This town is nuts, just crazy. Maybe too much like the Brazzini brothers for anyone's taste. Until next time, this is Scott Priz, Private Eye out of Hyde Park, signing off. Eat your vitamins, kids, and don't forget to drink your Bragdashio poison, cooked in your favorite Pullman brand frying pan.